Hey guys, it's Drea. So today I'm ranking my high-end eyeshadow palettes with you. I've already done my drugstore eyeshadow palettes. I'm ranking this in real time, meaning I have not decided what order. Oh, I'm in my bedroom by the ocean and a train track. You might hear fairy horns, you might hear train noises. This is just what's gonna happen. So I haven't decided what's what yet. I want to do that with you. For the purposes of high-end, what I'm considering high-end is anything that is not drugstore, basically. So like, for example, I have Juvia's Place in here. I don't know if Juvia's Place is high-end. I don't really think it is. But this is more like mid-range and high-end. I already did all the drugstore, so this is everything that isn't drugstore. All right, is that enough of a preamble? I don't have as much of an idea with these as I did with the drugstore ones. I feel like drugstore was so easy for me because I know how much I love BH and ColourPop, but high-end, I actually don't love high-end eyeshadow as much as I love BH and ColourPop. But I do know that I really like all my Lime Crime palettes. So I'm gonna do what I did in the last videos. I'm gonna pull out a few that I know are like really high up there on my list and then rank from there. So like, I know, okay, I wouldn't consider Venus 3, but I would put Venus, the Juvia's Place, the Deuce palette, like up in top rankings, Venus XL. Oh, this Too Faced. By the way, also, I put like mini palettes, not necessarily quads. If it had more than 4, I included it. Okay, so the Too Faced Tickled Peach palette is really high up in my rankings. I would also put the Sephora Pro Editorial 1, not 2, this is 2. 1. I would put that really high up. When I started this video, and if you would have said pick your top 5 high-end palettes, I don't know that I would have thought of these ones, but I'm looking at everything else going, yeah, nothing really beats these out for me at the moment anyway. And this could be fluid. Like, if you ask me next year the same to rank all these palettes, it could be in a different order, right? This is just as of right now. I'm going to put Venus number 1. I freaking love this palette so much. The Lime Crime formula is the best formula that I've used in a long time. I love BH, I love ColourPop, and then this is like top 3 formulas for me. So like, some of their mattes are just so freaking good. I'm not gonna swatch everything, but I'm gonna swatch some stuff for you. Like, look at how beautiful. And I love the color story in here. This is such a well edited palette. I just love the color story because it's just really well done. Here's, I'm gonna swatch this with my thumb. This satin pink is beautiful too. So it's not just their mattes, but anyways, this for me is number 1 at the moment. It's kind of hard for me. I would put these two like very close together. The Deuce by Juvia's is so gorgeous. This shade in particular, my favorite look to do with this palette is this shade on the lid, this one in the crease, this one kind of also slightly warming up the crease, and then this one in the outer V. And these 4 shades together look so nice in an eye look. And look at that green, and that green goes on the lid so nicely with a brush. Like, it goes on the lid just as gorgeously with a brush as it does in a finger swatch, which is, you know, not common. So I think as of right now, that's number 2. And then Tickled Peach would be number 3. And Tickled Peach is just such a gorgeously neutral but beautiful. It's almost like a neutral smoky palette. They're just like, that matte brown is just great. Okay, that's number 3. Then I think I would go for the Sephora Pro Editorial. Next because I just love the bright mattes in this. I don't necessarily like really anything on this row. This is not, in my opinion, that good of a row, except for that silver is really good. But all of these in these 2 rows are stunning. And then this row here is like some really interesting glitters and satins. Like this shade here is amazing. I don't like that they don't have the names printed on the palette. They do in the newer version. Look at that. And then just look at like a couple of these matte shades. They're very powdery, that's the only thing. So you really either have to do your eyeshadow first or tap off your brush, but like look at that. They're so great. So I really love this palette. I've had so much fun with it, and it's a great summer palette in particular. Okay. Now, of course, we'll see if anything in this pile beats anything in there. It's a possibility. I'm going to put this Venus XL next. I really like this. It's so new to me though. I could definitely see something else, me going, oh yeah, I forgot how much I love this, and then putting it ahead of it. But this has some gorgeous like reds, pinks, burgundies, and some really nice lid shades. I really do like this. The mattes again are just stunning. I love Lime Crime mattes. They're amazing. Like they're just amazing. So that goes next. Now I'm a little bit stuck. I don't know. Okay, let's see. I used to love the Modern Renaissance a ton. I don't know that I still do. Obviously I used it a ton, but I think that goes, that could go there. I think the NARS Reloaded palette, this was my makeup use up palette for half of last year. Really love this. I really love some of the satiny metallics in this one as well. What else do I really like? See, the problem is a lot of things I haven't really experimented with yet a lot, like Sultry. Like, it's gorgeous. I feel like I don't really know this palette that well yet. So, and in like Nude. Again, this I've probably only used 4 times so far. It's so new to me. So like, it's beautiful, and I probably put it up pretty high, but I don't have a lot of experience with these yet. So this is almost why I was trying to like put this particular video off for a while, but I'm like, no, I finally have to do it. But I think I would still like put these in the next wave, maybe even like Venus XL2. Again, like I've probably only used 3, 2, 1. But I think I would probably still put these in the next wave. Also like Venus XL2, I feel like that probably would be pretty high up in this area as well. But again, I've only used this maybe like 3 or 4 times so far. There are a few palettes in my collection that I don't have in here yet because I haven't used them or I've only used them once. This one I put in here, but I've only used it once, but I did really like it. It's the Viseart Theory palette in Amethyst. I've only had a chance to use it 1 time yet, but I think it would go, like, that sucks, right? You'd probably be like, well, you can't rank that. You've only tried it 1 time. But I know, but I'm still gonna. Colored Rain from the Queen of Hearts palette from Colored Rain. This one I think should go up here. I haven't used this in a very long time, but I do know the quality of it and I love it a lot. And then Lime Crime Venus 3. I think this is not the best out of all the Lime Crime palettes, but I still think it's really good. So let's rank these ones. Don't really see anything else in that pile. You know what? Actually, no. This does deserve to be up here. The Anastasia Shadow Couture World Traveler palette. This is from a few years ago. It was limited edition. I love this palette so much. I take this whenever I go traveling. There's huge dips in some of these. This is also broken. It's so hard to rank this. I almost don't want to because I've only used it like 3 times. These are really beautiful. These metallic shades. I did have a little bit of trouble applying them with a brush. I think they need a finger, and then sometimes with a finger you don't get as beautiful of a swatch as you do there. I don't like these pressed glitters, but I haven't really figured out how to use them yet. They really are truly pressed glitters, and they don't just nicely go onto the lid. You have to like use glitter glue and stuff. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side because I think there's definitely a few things that would beat it. I think the Queen of Hearts palette should go ahead of that. I really love this. I just haven't. Why don't I use this? Like, I don't know. They're gorgeous. These are gorgeous shadows. Yeah. Okay. I need to use this more. You know what it is, guys? I use my ColourPop and BH so much that I really don't, like I said, I don't touch a lot of high-end stuff. I'm going to put Colored Rain next. Then I'm going to put this Shadow Couture World Traveler palette. Love it. Then I'm going to put Venus XL2. This is recent in my memory, so I feel like I can really rank this. I haven't used it a ton. I've used this more than 3 times. I probably used this 6 times because it was in my everyday makeup drawer the last go around. It's just such an interesting color story that I don't really know what to do with it yet. And I did put this in my favorites, and that's what I said. Like, I'm not really exactly and entirely sure how to use this because it's greens and pinks and peaches. Like, who does palettes like those colors? But look at this green. So pretty, right? And I did a few looks with that shade in particular, and I do really like this. So I'm going to put that there. I think next, which one do I like better? Venus 3 or NARS Reloaded? I think I like Venus 3 better, just because it is still purples. These 2 shades I think are a little bit more finicky, which is why this ranks the lowest for me out of all the Venus palettes. You definitely need a glitter glue with Beam or like a sticky base for it to do anything. It's very, like, it really doesn't show up even in a swatch, and it definitely doesn't show up with a brush. You need a sticky base. And then this shade Paradise I also think is not fantastic. It's still pretty, but it requires building up, or like, it's just not as nice as I would love it to be. But the mattes in here still, like these shades, are really gorgeous. So I'll put that next. Then I'll put NARS, oh, I keep saying Reloaded. I'm thinking of the Urban Decay palette. By the way, I don't have any naked palettes anymore. No, the NARS Loaded palette. So in particular, like, the mattes are really great in here, but in particular, I love this taupe. This taupe is so beautiful. Like, if you like a good taupe, there you go. So that can go next. Then I would put Modern Renaissance, probably because it's just such a classic. It does such gorgeous warm tone looks. Obviously it's well loved, so I'm gonna do that next. And then I'll put Sultry, because I have definitely used this more than these 2. And I do like it. I'm still so, like, on the fence about this. There's a possibility though I might move something ahead of this. Then I'm going to do the new Nude, and then I'm going to do this Viseart Theory palette. Again, I've only used it 1 time so far, so it's really super hard to rank, but I'm going to. I think at this point I'm going to pull some things that I think could beat some of those, like this, the Natasha Denona Green Brown palette. Huda Beauty Desert Dusk, and the Too Faced Chocolate Gold, and Too Faced Razzle Dazzle. That's what it's called, right? Razzle Dazzle Berry. I should have those a little bit further that way. Okay, I don't think there's anything else that could possibly beat those. The Razzle Dazzle Berry, I feel like, do I like this more than any of those things? I feel like I like it more than Modern Renaissance. I feel like I like it more than NARS Loaded. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna put it there. These are gorgeous shadows. It's a very kind of one-note look, even though obviously there's different shades and a wide variety. I feel like because it's all berries and purples, you're not gonna get too different of a look out of it. The mattes are super smooth. The shimmers are really beautiful too. So this is just a really solid palette. I really do enjoy it a lot. Okay, so ahead of NARS Loaded. Chocolate Gold. I feel like this is one that I haven't, even though I've had this a long time, I haven't really experimented with it a ton. I do know that when I tried using some of these metallic shades, they didn't really go on the eye all that great. Like Gold Dipped, Rich Girl has some hard pan on it. Classy and Sassy has some hard pan on it. I was definitely noticing that when I used this palette, like in a swatch. Pretty decent in a swatch, but I don't know. I should try this out again soon. I just never wanted to really reach for it because I always felt like I was having some difficulty. So I think I am gonna put this like next. Where should I put the next round? Next round, I'm gonna start putting like over. Can you see that? I know you can kind of see it. I'm gonna start putting them right there. The Huda Beauty Desert Dusk. I use this one way more than I've used the new nude, although this is also very new to me. I feel like the mattes in here take a lot of building up, but that doesn't necessarily bother me because I can end up getting them there, you know what I mean? And some of these shades like Eden, for example, really pretty, but it's kind of same as that Lime Crime shadow. Really takes, sorry about the mirror, really takes some like sticky base underneath it to make it pop, but you can get it to pop. But like, see this Amethyst shade and even Blazing, actually Blazing is a bad example. Blazing is very pigmented, but that Amethyst shade is not, but it can get there when you build it up. And I like the color story of this quite a bit. Like, this is my jam. This kind of like purpley orangey-ness. I really love it. So this one, would I put this ahead of Sultry? Would I put it ahead of Modern Renaissance? I think I would. I think I would put it behind NARS Loaded though, just because, again, I know NARS Loaded really, really well. This one not as well. I'm going to put that one there. I'm going to rank this green brown palette. I'm going to rank my Lila palette at the same time, just because they're both Natasha Denona, even though I know that I do not like this one as much as I like that one. This one, I feel like the formula is not as easy to work with. The shimmers, they don't go on as nicely as a lot of other formulas do. Like, for example, that Juvia's Place shimmer, that's like, mwah. This is like, meh. The mattes in here, I don't feel like they're any light enough to do a cohesive look with. And some of the mattes, like this one and this one, I feel like are very similar in tone. And there's definitely not anything light enough to be an actual true transition shade. So I never reached for this. I kind of regret buying it in the end, but it was all hype and it was the first purple palette she put out. Anyways, I'm going to put this, I think I'm going to put it ahead of the chocolate gold, but behind the Viseart. And then this guy, I actually really do like it, but I have kind of a similar complaint. There's very few mattes in here. There's like, that's not, is this even a matte? I think this is even a satin. There's like literally 2 mattes in here. There's this satin. I think this is a matte. You can kind of use this as a matte, but it's truly a satin. So there's not really a lot you can do with this. However, there are some beautiful, beautiful lid shades. So for me, this is a lid shade palette, especially if I want a green. These are all so gorgeous. This is more of a gold green. Like, look. So this is actually the reason I didn't buy the ColourPop Just My Luck palette, because I knew I had this palette and I don't even use this enough. And look at how gorgeous those are. And I don't regret buying it because I did not pay full price for this. I bought this from a friend at a deeply discounted rate because she got it in a Beautylish box. So where am I going to put this guy? I feel like I want to rank this ahead of the new nude palette, only again because I don't really know the new nude that well. But I don't use it as much as I feel like I would use Sultry and Modern Renaissance, or really anything ahead of that. So I think I'm going to put it here. Let's take a 5-minute beer break. By the way, this is beer number 1, so I'm not really under the influence yet. I've only had 3 sips of it, which also means I have no excuse for anything that happens. Okay. Probably Born to Run. Probably the Wanted from NARS. I think at this point we can probably work in the Huda Beauty little guys. This one, Juvia's Place Nubian 2, and probably the Tarte's Pro. I don't see anything else in this pile yet that I would put ahead of those. So let's move this over. It's hard for me to reach. Okay. These three are very new to me, especially this one. I've only used this one like twice. These two I've used quite a bit more. I feel like this one was part of my makeup use up last year. I love this palette. It's obviously well used. You can tell that was a tragedy. This is a finicky palette though because of these particular shades. You would think that like something like this would be really, really fun, but it's got a weird texture to it. So does this one. And so they're not as simple to use as I would want, but they are beautiful. And you have kind of like a light pink color story in here, which I think is a little bit different than a lot of the warm tone palettes that you see out. So I think I like this more than Lila. At this point, you know that Theory palette, we're just going to leave it where it is because I'm not going to keep saying I've only used it once. We're just going to leave it where it is. I'm going to put this right behind that, and I'm going to put that Wanted palette in front of the Lila palette. Oh, you know what? I'm also going to rank this Nubian as well. So this is the Urban Decay Born to Run. I like this a lot. I haven't used a lot of the shades in here because I consider this much more of a fall palette, and I got it just in the spring. And so I did use it, but for a lot of just the more neutrally shades here. I really do think it's really good quality though. Well, you know what? Some of them, like that didn't swatch as nicely as some other things. But I never noticed any issues. That's a nice swatch. I never noticed any issues when I was like using it day to day. Pretty sure I definitely used that as a lid shade. I'm going to put this, because I really like the color story a lot in here too. And I could see myself using this way more in the fall. I think I'm going to put this right behind Sultry and ahead of the Natasha Denona one. Or should I? Should I put this behind the Natasha? I'm going to put it behind the Natasha Denona and ahead of the New Nudes. And just a reminder, this is fluid. I could definitely see myself ending up loving that New Nudes palette and it coming so far forward. But, you know, this is just the way it goes. Okay, the Nubian and the Nubian 2. Really liked this a lot when I used it. Comes ahead of you, comes ahead of you, comes ahead of you, comes ahead of you. Yeah, comes ahead of you. I'm going to put it behind Lime Crime Venus 3 and in front of Razzle Dazzle Berry. Okay, this little mini Nubian by Juvia's. I really like this. Alex gave this to me. I think this would make a gorgeous travel palette, or like if you had a little gym makeup bag or something. It's so perfectly curated, and again, like nice mixture of mattes, shimmers, metallics. Like you could do some gorgeous things with this really quickly, and I really like that. I think this has such a good place for many people in a collection. But where would I put this now? Like, it's so neutral, it's not really gonna be in my top favorites because, you know, my top favorites have a lot of color. And I don't know it that well again. I think I'm gonna put this behind Desert Dusk. I think I'm gonna put it in front of Modern Renaissance. You know, Modern Renaissance is a funny thing because I feel like it was such a groundbreaking palette, and so many people, like, we've all seen neutrals, but we never really saw something so warm with such deep jewel toned burgundies in it. And that's, you know, the formula I personally think is amazing with just how well they blend and how pigmented they are. But I feel like since then, eyeshadow formulas have just improved across the board, you know? So even though like this might have been my top palette 3 years ago, obviously it's fallen way back since then, and that's okay. It's, you know, makeup is a fluid thing. All right, the Tarte Pro. This palette, oh, it's hard to open. This palette is really pretty, especially, I'm gonna put this closer because it's gonna be hard for you with the reflection. Where can we go with this? Here we go. Okay, that's the best angle for you to see it. I really like how there's these muted matte berry tones in here. And then you have basically 2 rows of completely, well, I want to say neutral, but this is actually a little bit more cool toned. But I really like the purpley matte, like muted berryness of this. I think these ones are okay. They're definitely not like a favorite, but they're nice enough. But I really like the quality of the mattes. So for me, because it's just not my favorite type of thing. Muted and neutrals, and you know, I like bright and color way more. So even though I really like the quality of this, I think this is kind of much closer to the bottom. Not because it's bad, but just because it's not my personal favorite. I think I would put this ahead of the Too Faced Chocolate Gold. And I'm gonna put it behind Lila, only because I like the tones of Lila better. And I still think Lila, like for all my criticism of it, I still think some of those metallic lid shades are really gorgeous. So I'm gonna put it right there. So at this point, second to last. Doesn't mean that's bad. There are very few palettes in my collection that I think are bad, but there are a few coming. Okay, these 2 Huda palettes. So this is the Amethyst Obsessions. I like the mattes in here, kind of. I don't think they're the most easily blendable things in the world. I think they're all right. I think some of these shades that I would expect to perform really, really nicely are very difficult, especially that middle shade. Like I want that middle shade to be the shade in the palette, and it's very difficult. It's this one here. It's very difficult to get it to show up, to get it to do anything, to get it, like it doesn't even look in a swatch or on the lid the way it looks in the palette. So sometimes it's very tricky to know what to do with this palette, but I still like it, and it's all purple and that means something to me. So I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna rank this according to how much use I think I'm gonna get out of it in the scope of all of these. I need to stretch my leg. Okay, let's have another. Cheers to the makeup. How often do I think I'm going to use this? Am I going to use it more than Desert Dusk? Am I going to use it more than NARS, than Razzle Dazzleberry, than Juvia's Place, than Lime Crime? Definitely not more than Lime Crime. Probably not more than Juvia's Place. I think this falls after Razzle Dazzleberry and in front of the NARS Loaded palette. This little guy, I'm not in love with the formula of these. I think some of them are better than the Amethyst. Like this silver is really beautiful, but silvers are not difficult to do. I have a ton of gorgeous silvers in my collection. These browns I feel like are not great. They're not very easily blendable. Also, both of those are so similar. I feel like you could have done a different color and had the same result, like had a much better result because those 2 are the same. This gold is really nice, but again, golds are not that hard to do. I just don't use this a lot. Yeah, it's great for a smoky look, which is what I use it for. Like using the black with like a halo eye is a nice look. I don't necessarily love the other shades. I'm gonna put this, because I really don't think the formula is that great in this one either. I'm gonna put this after Tarte, after Too Faced. The more I think about that Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette, the more I'm like, yeah, I just remember not liking that formula. So I'm gonna put this ahead of the Too Faced but behind the Tarte. Let's talk about this guy because we need to find a spot for this. This is gonna be one of those that is great quality but boring. Boring AF. This is the Smashbox Shape Matters palette. This has a really nice mirror in it. It's great for traveling. It has like face powders, including a highlighter. It has brow stuff. And then it has this here, which is your eyeshadow. Like very boring, right? This whole thing is very, very boring. But it's a good cohesive thing if you are traveling or if you want a really easy work look or if you're a makeup artist, even like a part-time, like at-home makeup artist, you know, like you do makeup for your friends or something. The quality of this is great. It's just so boring. I never, ever, ever use it. And anything that I would do with this smoky wise, geez, anything I would do with this just to get like a smoky eye or a neutral eye, I can do 10 times over with everything else in this box. So I think at this point, just with the caveat that this is great quality, but I never use it, like literally never. This is going right to the back. I think it's better quality than a lot of things in here though. It's just got nothing else going for it. Okay, let's put this one in here somewhere. This is the Flamingo palette from Violet Voss. Again, have not used this very much. In theory, you would look at this and go, Drea, this is you. This is all color. Look at it. There's like no neutrals in this. It should be number one. It should be. I got this in the fall, so bad time of year to get a palette like this. And I really haven't used it much. This is right now in my everyday makeup drawer and I haven't used it yet because I just did my Shop My Stash like 2 days ago. So I am going to start using this. The only looks I really have done with this are this purple and orange, not purple, that is clearly a yellow. This yellow and orange. And it's gorgeous. And I did get like definitely comments and compliments on that color combination when I did it, I want to say like in January. Anyways, I like this palette. I think some of these shadows are a little bit finicky though. I don't think that the quality is the best, but I still clearly need to play with this a lot more. I'm going to have to rank this according to the color story and what I know of the formula so far, which means for me, I would put this, because I love the colors. I feel like I would put this ahead of Lime Crime Venus 3, just because like the quality of the Lime Crime Venus 3 is also slightly questionable. It's not my favorite of all of them. And I love the color variety of this a lot more. So I'm gonna put this here. See, there's still a chance for some things to move up. Okay, this I don't have high hopes for. This is the Sephora Pro Editorial 2. Kind of the same idea. I love the color story of this. I have not played with this a ton. I got this in the VIB sale in the fall when I went absolutely nuts for buying makeup and bought way too much stuff all at once. And I haven't played with this all that much. I've probably used this less than 10 times. But I do know every time that I've used it, I've had some good results, but more so questionable, and a couple times disastrous results because of the formula of this. I think the formula of this is not great overall. There are some that are perfectly fine. Like some of these mattes are going to be the same quality as the original editorial palette, like really, really pretty. But like, see this color here, Illusion, I would love to use that all over the lid. This has nothing to it. Nothing. And even with a sticky base, and it has hard pan on it. You know, it's just really annoying. This shade here has hard pan on it. But there are some really interesting colors in here. Like some of these pukey greens. These are great. You know? So it's a really weird color story, but not bad. Not bad weird. Just like slightly challenging weird. And I'm not against that because I feel like at this point in my makeup journey, I am approaching intermediate level. Not quite there, but close. But some of these, like this one, same thing. This is like not great quality. It's like kind of chunky. and kind of sheer. I don't know. This red, what does this red look like? Ah, see? Great. The mattes. Sephora Pro mattes are great. Okay. I feel like the quality is not great. The color story is better than a lot of things. Just weird. I would put this definitely behind the new, like definitely behind Born to Run, definitely behind Green Brown, definitely behind like Sultry. Would I, Viseart, yes, behind that. Definitely behind NARS Wanted because the formula Wanted is much better. I'm going to put this ahead of the Lila palette. Because again, I just don't love that Lila palette. So we'll put that there. We're approaching the end. It's just these guys left. So let's do this. This is the Wondrous Flame palette. There are some gorgeous lid shades in here, but this is just a lid shade palette. It is not a cohesive palette. There's literally one matte in it, and then everything else is a shiny lid shade. And they are all pretty. They're very sheer though. They don't go in the eye as nicely as I swatch. They are a little bit, well, no, they're a lot powdery, very powdery, and not in a like I can overlook that type way. Like in a, they don't even really look that metallic on the lid way, which is kind of weird. I don't love this. I do like it. I do get compliments on it when I use it. It's a very sheer, natural looking pastel look that you get out of this palette. I'm gonna put this behind the Theory palette, behind like, we're over here, behind New News, behind Theory. I'll put it ahead of the Pro Editorial too, because I do think the quality is a little bit better. Let's get this out of the way because I want to end on a slightly good note. I don't necessarily want to end on a bad note at all. This is the Berries and Cream from Dominique Cosmetics. I've talked about this a lot on my channel, how it's extremely disappointing to me. The satins and shimmers are so powdery and chalky. They go on okay on the lid, but they've got that quality. Like when you put them on the lid, they do not look like metallic like in a swatch. I don't want to bend this mirror all the way back. You know what? I'll just turn it around like this. The mattes in here are completely questionable. The blue's great. The black is good. The transition is good. It's the purples, really. And slightly the browns, but especially the purples. Both of these shades blend away. So you can put them on and they'll look okay. And you can start blending, and then you have to continually build up and build up and build up, and they blend away and they blend away and they blend away. I think this palette is subpar. Very, very disappointing. I would love to use like a shade like this, Sugar Cookie, all over my lid. This is also, at the moment, not the best example because my hand is wet from, whatchamacallit, from one of these guys. But yeah, this is super powdery and I would love to use it all over the lid, but it just doesn't work out. Like they're too soft. I don't know. The formula of this is not good. I'm gonna put this, I love the color story, but the color story doesn't work if the shadows don't work. Like this to me is gonna be like completely last place, which is a bummer because I really wanted to love that palette so badly. All right, also very close to last place to me, this Cargo palette. I love this and I don't see myself getting rid of this because this is the Chill in the Six palette, which is all Toronto and it's all nostalgia for me. Like all the names are things having to do with Toronto. And I just love that. But it's also completely cool toned, not shades that I ever use. I just use this in my all Canadian makeup, and it ended up okay, but it was slightly difficult. There's no transition shade in here at all. And even some of the shades don't look at all like they do in the palette. Like this brown looks black when you put it on, so it's very weird. I did do a look with these four like purpley tones that looked really nice though at one point. So it's just not my favorite. It's not going to be something I reach for, but I love owning it because it's just so like, it fills in this homesickness that I have. So this I would put in front of the berries and cream, but behind the Smashbox. I think that these 3 palettes are good quality. They're just, well, let's talk about them individually. This is the Volcano Goddess from Becca. This was their holiday palette. I love this way it looks. It's stunning from the front. They put this on sale so soon after they brought it out. Like this went on clearance before, way before Christmas even came. These shades, these metallics are so beautiful. Okay, maybe not that blue. That blue did not swatch well. I haven't actually used the blue yet. Oh, interesting. It really doesn't swatch very well. The gold and the orange obviously are really, really beautiful. I think this was just like really badly reviewed maybe, or just maybe like people didn't buy it because this color story doesn't like scream holidays and it was brought out for the holidays. I'm gonna have to rank this according to like how often would I reach for this as opposed to everything here. I think I would reach for the Editorial 2 palette ahead of this just because I would like to experiment with that more. I'm gonna put this behind the Editorial 2. I'm gonna put it behind Natasha Denona because even those shades I think are a lot better. I'm going to put this, should I put this behind the Tarte? I feel like I would reach for this more than I would reach for the Tarte. So I'm going to put this there. Oh, this is completely full now. We still have 2 palettes to go. So these are from MAC. When they brought out this whole line of these really skinny, long palettes, 2 years ago maybe, they had a whole bunch and they're all like named after qualities in a woman, I guess. This is the Basic Bitch palette, which I think this is named wrong. Like this should really be Basic Bitch. This is like all neutrals, right? Like warm neutrals. Anyways, this one, there's only 2 shades I keep this palette for, and there are these 2. And these 2 shades have even started getting hard pan, which they're really gorgeous, like really gorgeous colors. I love these 2 colors, but I don't use it very much. Again, cool tones, silvery shades, not really things that I go for very often. So I hardly ever use this. And then the Mischief Minx, I actually use this more because this, although it can be very light and airy and warm, it's very much a summertime thing that you can get a really nice, like they're also not that pigmented. Where should I swatch these? They're not that pigmented, and I think, oh, those are terrible swatches. Can you see though? That's a swatch right there. They're so light and not pigmented. You can only really do warm, natural looks with this. But hey, there's a time and place for a warm, natural look in my life. So I do like this. I definitely like this one more than this one. Okay, so these obviously are going to go closer to the bottom. Does that annoy any of you? I do that all the time now that I have long nails. Okay, I'm gonna put Basic Bitch after the Too Faced because, oh, don't break or anything. Because I still feel like the Too Faced has something to offer. And I only use 2 shades in that other palette. Mischief Minx, I do like it. I like it more than the Huda one. I think I like the Tarte one better though. I can do a lot more with the Tarte. So here we are. I just want to see if there's anything that I feel like I should move around at all. I think the Tarte should actually go ahead of Volcano Goddess because really it's just the 2 lid shades in here that I think are really impressive. Other than that, it's pretty boring. And there's much better stuff going on in there. I think I'm pretty satisfied where with everything else lies. There's reasons for everything. It's definitely not what I expected I was going to come out with when I did this, but here we are. So let's just go through them. So we have at the number 1 spot, the Venus, the original Venus from Lime Crime, then the Deuce palette from Juvia's Place, then this little mini guy, which is so hard to see, but in such a great little small package, the Too Faced Tickled Peach palette, then the Sephora Pro Editorial 1, Venus XL Original, Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette, the World Traveler palette from Anastasia, the Venus XL2, the Violet Boss Flamingo palette, then the Venus XL3, no, the Venus 3, sorry, the Nubian 2 from Juvia's Place, then the Razzle Dazzle Berry palette from Too Faced, the Amethyst palette from Huda, the Loaded palette from NARS, then the Desert Dusk palette from Huda, then the Nubian Little Mini from Juvia's. So hard to reach things. Modern Renaissance, Sultry, Green Brown, Born to Run palette. Then we have the New Nude palette. Then some little guys, the Theory Amethyst palette. Then the NARS Wanted, the Wander Beauty Wondrous Fling, Sephora Pro Editorial 2, the Lila palette from Natasha Denona, the Tartist Pro palette, the Volcano Goddess palette from Becca, Mischief Minx, then the Smoky Obsessions from Huda, Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette, the Basic Bitch palette from MAC, then the Smashbox Shape Matters palette, then Cargo Chill in the 6, and finally, and in last place, doesn't really surprise me. I thought maybe this could have edged out a few things, but looking at it, I think this does. It does deserve to be definitely in the bottom 3. I could see maybe these 3 kind of moving around in the bottom 3, but really at this point, who cares? The Dominique Cosmetics Berries and Cream. All right, there's everything ranked in my high-end, mid-range eyeshadow palettes, non-drugstore. I really enjoy doing this. I like doing the thought process with you guys and not necessarily just holding things up and telling you that I arrived at the conclusion, but I like arriving at the conclusion with you. So that's it for today. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Definitely subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to see you around, and you can check out some of my other ranking videos as well. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!